गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णू गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरा गुरुरेव परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः। सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। महायोगी स्वामी उमानंद सरस्वती की जय। Friends, you must have realized my Guru's name is Umanand Saraswati, and therefore every time I start my discourse, I begin by seeking her blessings. I was talking about the ashram, and in the evening, whenever the ladies of the ashram would sit to attend to the catering requirements like cutting of vegetables or fruits and making bread pins and also making buttermilk and things like that, I would sit around and read some written works for them. And one very good book I came across. It was Life of Gondavlekar Maharaj. Again, as I said to you all, that I am going to leave some work for all those who are interested in spiritual studies. Go to internet or Google and try and trace out the works of Gondavlekar Maharaj. And the details I would like you all to trace about him. There's a very popular book which is known as Brahma Chaitanya, and it is written upon him. And I would like to refer to some of these incidents in his life, because that is how we will start knowing the in-depth about the Guru concept or the vastness of it. Gondavlekar Maharaj was a devotee of Sri Ram. He is also considered to be incarnation of Sri Ram. And there are few things which interested me was, where as a child when he was growing up, he was very keen on going to a guru and finding his own master and trying to study with the master. So he would himself go and approach various great masters and talk to them and say, "Sir, I would like to learn from you 4 Vedas and 6 Shastra." And every master would say, "Well, this is not what I can offer to you. Maybe somebody else is there made as Guru for you." So the boy would disappointedly leave and go. Of course, they would encourage him to stay with them. The Guru would encourage him to stay along for a few days. But somehow the boy was so focused that he wanted to study 4 Ved and he wanted to study 6 Shastra. So he kept on hunting for the Guru. One fine day, he sat upon a river bank and he was contemplating. He was not very old, he must be in early teens. And at that time, he heard a voice. It is so said that he heard the guidance. Now you all know what is intuition. So let us consider that this was intuition. And he was intuited, or he was told, or he heard a voice saying that go to Tukamai. Tukamai is your Guru. Now, of course, he was directed where to go, and the boy rushed to Tukamai's ashram. Now, Tukamai was we call him Vikshipta, was a strange person. Before Gondavlekar Maharaj came to his ashram, for 3 days he went around announcing to his fellow town people that somebody is going to come and loot me, take away everything of mine. So people around said, "He is such a poor man, he has hardly anything to eat, and what is it he is going to be stolen? What is he going to lose?" So, but he would go and announce it, and daily he did it for 2-3 days. And it is so said that Gondalekar Maharaj, as a boy of 12, 13 or 14, 15, whatever, he reached there and he was sitting um, against the wall of Tukamai's house. And Tukamai came and he saw the boy leaning upon the wall near his house. He took a huge big rod and came rushing, not a rod, we will say bamboo. And he came rushing, and he took the bamboo. He was about to hit, and he says, "Come here, you have come here to steal everything from me, I'm going to beat you." So the boy came rushing, and he fell at his feet. And he says, "Well, that's what I've come here to give away myself to you." And it is so said that Tukamai took him, held him close, and made further inquiries. And for a couple of later few months, years, Tukamai had this boy staying with himself. Now, this was how the Guru and Shishya, the disciple, met. Now, the second thing, that one day, one fine day, this boy happened to accidentally say, "I'm not going to leave even an arm's length between you and me, sir." So, Gondavlekar Maharaj, he said to Tukamai, "I'm not going to leave even an arm's length between you and me." So, Tukamai was a very strange and probably a humor-loving person. So he would run in the fields. He would give this boy a lot of wood to carry, a log of woods to carry, and he would run in the fields. And he would say, "See, you cannot keep me away from you. For one, let's see, one arm's length, let's see how close you can run." And the boy would run with all the log of woods and just keep following him through the fields. Well, now why is it all done? It is done to dissolve the ego. All this is done to dissolve the ego. When you go to a guru, you are tested and tried, and you are not only tested and tried, you are molded. You are molded. You are molded to become an egoless person. So if you have an ego, the master cannot give you the knowledge that he needs to impart. So, and it does affect, unless you don't realize what is an egoless state, you will not realize how the knowledge can be imparted. So it is very essential that the disciple who is there to learn does not have an ego issue about his status and his personal knowledge and things like that. It has to be very comfortable. And the moment he is humble before the teacher is able to impart the required knowledge properly. This Gondalekar Maharaj would run after him. One more incident I would like to tell about him. Tukamai one day, he told this boy, dig some sand here and there. And there were children playing. He said, "You tell them to hide in that." And they all were hiding in the holes which were made in the ground. Small ditches like, and he said, "Hide them." And he said, "Just sort of cover them little with straw and sand and all, and sit upon it so that they are not seen." And then the parents came. And of course, when the parents came, he was told not to tell anybody that the boys are hidden here. And then, of course, Tukamai himself told the parents, "That is the boy, he has hidden all your children. Go and beat him." Go and beat him, so he will honestly confess. Now the parents came, and poor boy Ram was being beaten. He got his own beating, but he did not open his mouth. He kept quiet because he was not supposed to tell. He was not supposed to tell. So he did not tell. And then finally when he was beaten, then Tukamai himself rushed to rescue he held them close. He held Ram close and he said, no, no, no. I was just joking. He says, there. These children are here. You can take them home. Now, some of these incidents, they make us wonder what sort of gurus are. But the guru is probably more focused, or rather I would say it becomes a very beautiful relationship where the guru who is personally attached to the disciple and the disciple is attached to guru. It becomes a beautiful way of enjoying, talking, playing about, fooling about, and then finally imparting what is required. All this goes about. It depends how fortunate one is to have a guru who likes you. It's all of us normally, when the saints are great, we tend to hold their feet. But those disciples are fortunate when the guru holds their hand. That's very important. So, here was probably Gondavlekar Maharaj were fortunate that Tukamai had taken interest in him, had taken personal interest in him and was personally fond of him. So, it so happened that days passed by and one fine morning, Tukamai tells Gondavlekar Maharaj, he says, now I'm going to take you to the rivers and you're going to have a bath there and I'm going to initiate you and give you what Sri Vasishtha gave it to Sri Ram. Friends, those who don't know these two names, Sri Vasishtha and Sri Ram, please look into the internet and the Googles and please find out, because these are tall figures, and we have a lot to learn on spiritual path. If we don't know these two personalities, please feel free to read something about them on Googles. As far as I am concerned, I will only tell you one of the greatest sages Sri Vasishtha was, one of the greatest sages, and Sri Ram, of course, was the god of the Indian Hindu philosophy. And Sri Vasishtha was Sri Ram's guru. The rest of it I want you all to find out. Now these were the stories of Gondavlekar Maharaj. One more interesting factor I will tell you, and we will keep today's issue about Gondavlekar Maharaj. We shall end it here. A time had come when Maharaj made the people in town build a temple, and the temple was constructed. Of course, nothing was thought about the gods, the idols in the temple. Only the temple was being insurrected, we say. It was being built. So the temple got built as per the instructions of Gondavlekar Maharaj, and after the temple was constructed, one of the people came and approached Maharaj, and he says, Maharaj, how come you have the temples but nothing is stated about the gods? Gods here, where are the idols? Without the idols, the temple is not a temple. So he says, no, I have been told to construct the temple, and I'm sure God has instructed somebody else to give us the idols. And it so happened that within a very short duration, a gentleman came running and he said, there is a person who was prompted. He had the statue of Sri Ram, Lakshman, Sita and Hanuman in his house, and he's been instructed to hand over those idols to you for your temple. Now, this is universality. This is permeating. Lord permeates into the entire universe, and He takes any form, any place, person, thing. He gets into any person. He can express and he can make a media of any person around. So remember that gods can take any form. It does not need any particular a person of a religion or a person of a community or a person who's highly intellectual or realized and who is dumb. He can take any form, and therefore he can appear through anyone. So we need to understand, we are trying to understand the gods and the gurus and the prompters and the Sadguru and Lord Shiva. Shiva is an ultimate principle. We name it Shiva, it could be Vishnu, it could be, we are not looking upon them as deities, but they are the highest truth, principles, incarnation of their forms are the sages. So the saints also are almost the very form of human, mortal form of gods, just as there is air all around. But in a mortal body, we call it breath. Similarly, the God is a permeating concept, and in a mortal form, it is called a guru. God is called a guru. Or you can call it by any name, but we must realize that divinity can take any form and it can work through these forms. So, one man approached them with the idols, and it is so said that in the temples of Gondavla, these idols were established. And it is so said that when Gondavlekar Maharaj parted from his form, the idols have truly had tears rolling down the cheeks of the Lord. Now, let us, as I told you, let us not worry about what is reality, what is truth, and whether it is scientific or not, because faith has its own, it's a dimension. Faith is a dimension, just as love is a dimension. And love can make things happen. Words, another dimension, which can make things change in the world. Similarly, faith is another dimension, which can make the spirit manifest on earth. So friends, live with faith, and I'm sure you will have whatever you believe in, whatever you have faith in, world will start working in that direction. If you have faith in negativities, they will start manifesting. If you have faith in positivity, then that will start working. Let us be positive, even in dealing with the enemy element or the evil element around us. If we probably are more virtuous and assertive in our own little ways, probably we will start making difference to the world. And that is the job of the saints. Of course, let us not confuse the leaders and the saints and the leaders. They are Pant and Sant. They are two different, just like we have fruits and flowers. Like that, they are Santa and Panta. Panta are leaders. They are leaders. They have a certain job to get it done. And Santa, he knows that a certain job is going to happen. Well, he probably he's. I'll tell you one very short, little, small thing, and we will end today. The poor man and the sage, both are economically of the same status. The sage also normally is not much without funds, and the beggar is also not without much funds. But what is the difference in their approach? The beggar knows that he asks for alms. He asks for alms, and he thinks he's a beggar. He believes that he's a beggar. Whereas sage Ask any sage, does he believe that he's a beggar? He doesn't. He doesn't believe that he's a beggar. He knows he's a sadhu. He knows he's a sadhu. What he asks for is dakshina, not bhik. There is difference between bhik and bhiksha. And that is exactly the difference between those who are men of faith and those who are without faith. Friends, the world of faith has its own positive side. Tap it. Tap it and see whether you meet all the miraculous happenings and whether you can open this door of faith and enter into the Lord's world. This is Swami Radhikanand from Pune.